how else, what other strategies are you executing on, Colin, to drive awareness to the marketplace for what you offer at Avocado Audio?
So the nice thing with the pivot to subscription is so it's recurring revenue now. It's way easier to put paid marketing dollars behind. So we're doing all the different paid channels, and that's been pretty effective for us as well.
So are you, when you say paid channels, are you going through influencers? Are you doing banner ads? Are you doing like how exactly are you
So
looking to drive that
actually,
traffic?
for app, um, for apps, the most effective is actually Apple search ads. It's around half the cost of like Facebook or Google. So that's where we started. You scale that up into a point, and then it kind of tops off. And now we're doing more Facebook ads.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that I work with are they start with the Facebook or they start with the YouTube pre-roll and that sort of thing. So that the Apple app is an interesting way to go.
There isn't that much volume there. That's the issue. So once you start spending like up to $10,000 a month, you have to graduate to somewhere else.
Mm.
But it's kind of a messy setup with Apple where you could bid on competitors' keywords and just show up in that first spot. Like you probably shouldn't do that. You can't do that in Google often,
Yeah.
but Apple allows it still.
Well, one of the things that Gary V is always harping on is it doesn't need to be the best platform, but if as long as you're getting an ROI, then it doesn't really matter, right? So I think that just kind of tasting and executing on different channels, different areas is really important. If you get so caught up with I just have to do Facebook ads, well, you might be missing out on the Instagram story ads or that now they just launched Reels. I don't know how that's going to play out. We will definitely see there. So, I mean, this is definitely very interesting to me, and I'm kind of curious. As the host of a podcast yourself, Colin, Tech in Chicago, how is that platform, your podcast platform, how has that transitioned you and allowed you to execute on programs and companies like Avocado Audio?
So the biggest value in the podcast was not like the audience, I would say. It's not the distribution as much as the network I created with
Mhm.
all the guests that I had on. So why I launched it initially was just like a networking machine. So I moved to Chicago, I was into tech. You show up with two microphones, you could talk to anyone in the city and have an hour with them. So that was very effective. Now I have like a large network of CEOs that I could lean on if I have questions or anyone in the city that I could possibly ask for a question.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's something that people tend to minimize. I think that the more people you know and build in your network, the better. And I mean, I've had the opportunity via podcast to link up with professional athletes, presidential candidates, multi-million dollar CEOs and founders. And I think that people a lot of times get into podcasting because they want to get rich and quit their day job. But the real value, I think, is that connection and ability to build up your network. But also as someone who's in the audio space, you understand that it also gives you opportunity to really connect with your listeners on a deeper level than say an Instagram picture of yourself in front of a car might make, you know.
Yeah.
Tell me a story. Give me something interesting here, Colin. A time where you sat down with a founder and you walked away thinking like, wow, this is just a ton of value. I met with someone I never would have had the opportunity to meet with before podcasting.
So one of our, hmm, I've had people on the podcast that have sold companies for, well over $1 billion. That's not the most interesting one to me. Like the most interesting one I had on is I'm really into sleep. So I like am non-functional if I don't get me 8 hours of sleep. And I had on this guy who does sleep coaching. It's a tech platform that does sleep coaching for professional athletes. So that was probably the coolest one, the one that I most enjoyed, and is not like a famous startup in any sense. Rise Science is the name of it.
Mhm.
Jeff Kahn is the founder. That was a really cool one. That was a cool experience. We did the whole podcast in the Cards Against Humanity office as well, which is just like a bunch of train cars. It's just a bit of a surreal experience.
That's very, very cool. Very cool. Okay, so we've talked about how you're getting teachers. We talked a little bit about how you're getting students to your platform. Where do you see the future of Avocado Audio going? Where are you trying to level up as you look at the market? You're involved in tech. Where do you see the future of your audio teaching platform going?
I would love to unlock. I think there's just billions of hours of listening time that are trapped in this. People have so much more listening time than they have sitting in front of a screen time. So if we could change people's lives, let them learn a lot more than they are currently learning, that would be the goal going forward. As a business, we're doing not a pivot, but we're going to start selling to enterprises more. There's a big demand for these L&D platforms, and the consumption rate, like the success rate, is just so low.
Mm.
It's pretty easy for us to prove out that if you use Avocado instead, you have a much higher completion rate. So
So
that is probably where we're going to be heading.
thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.